Hello, hello, hello. It is Dana Diaz with my beautiful redheaded sister from another Mr. Dr. Victoria with her beautiful red glasses that I'm envious of. I need a pair of those. I have pink glasses somewhere.
I
I
went
don't know
through
where they are. They're
so
not.
many pair to try to find, and I was like, I told my husband, I was like, I want to put on a pair of glasses and have you go, ooh, that's it,
No, those are honestly, they look amazing on you. They look amazing.
Thank
Like I
you.
said, red is my favorite color anyway, but it looks like just stunning with your eyes and your hair and your lights. You just look fabulous.
Thank you. My green eyes just pop. They pop.
They really do, honestly. But I mean, and your hair, I mean, if people don't understand what your red hair looks like, it's just beautiful.
I love
I
you.
mean, I love it. I wish I had more something more exciting than brown hair, but in the summer I get the highlights. I get the natural highlights so I don't have to go dye my hair and so it kind of hides the grays when I have some blonde highlights in
You're so
there.
funny. You're so
Oh no,
funny.
I'm getting gray. It's so sad. And every once in a while I get like that Italian grandma chin hair that yeah, Doug will start laughing at me and then I run for the tweezers. I'm like, oh my God. And it's like an inch long hanging from my chin like a little goatee. Jesus Christ. It's awful. Aging. I don't recommend it.
But it's better than the alternative.
Ah, what's that? Dying or
Yeah.
being young?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's a slow death life, but you know.
So we're going to talk today a little different. Today's episode is going to be a little different because we have so much exciting things to talk about. Number one, what happens today? What's coming out today? What is it? What is it?
It's my husband's 60th birthday today. He's
Oh, it's
old.
Drew. Happy birthday, Dougie. Yeah.
Yes, he's old.
What are you giving him? Keep it PG rated.
Don't put this on air. I didn't get him. I
You
don't know
sound like
what to get.
Michael.
No, 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 it's not that. We're having a big party for him on Saturday, but I mean, he's one of these people who has everything. He has everything he needs, and if he wants something, he goes and buys it. There is nothing you can. And when I try to buy him stuff, he's just like, "Oh, okay, thanks." And then it just sits there until I sell it on Facebook Marketplace or something. I can do that anymore, but no, honestly, or I give the stuff away. It's ridiculous. So I love him very much,
Yes, you
and
do.
that is my gift to him today and dinner and the
Oh,
party.
hey, it sounds good to me. What else is today? Crickets.
Crickets. No, my third book is being released today. That's
Wait, I
very
didn't hear you.
exciting.
What? Speak
My
up.
third book is being released today. I'm very
Oh,
excited.
the one that I got before everybody else.
The one that you got first, though. You're the only person yet who has read it outside of, well, Doug has read the first part of it. He has not read the second part yet, but
Hey, I read it
yeah,
in like
you are the
3 hours.
one and only. I know. Yeah, I went through it. I was able to read it in an entire day, but granted, I was sick that day when I was doing my final reread, but it's the shortest book I've written
It
yet,
is.
which I was pretty proud of that because I've been the publisher has been on my ass about my books are too long. Keep it to 90,000 words and under. And I go giving them like 220,000 words and 160,000 words. And,
But none of the other two were like, oh my God, this is just dragging. None of
yeah,
them were like that.
I think maybe the second one for me, it dragged a little bit. And there were parts that I'm like, why is this even in here? But they wanted those parts in, so we left them. And that book, I was just kind of like, I didn't even want to write it, to be honest with you. It was kind of icky. It was about my childhood. So it's
But
just
it's
that
so
icky
informative.
stuff.
Like it really tells you more. It explains more of the story, it explains more of the
I think
background.
it does. And I tried to tell people if you read the second book, the impact of the third book will be felt that much more
It's
because
true.
you'll understand where I'm coming from as far as family and that kind of stuff.
Yes.
But yes, I'm very excited about that because this third book is actually the one that most people have been on my butt to write since the first book came out. Everyone wanted to know what happened next, like the next season on the show on Netflix, what happened next. And so I gave them what happened next, and it's
Yes.
still happening, but you got to end the book somewhere. So we
Well,
did,
that's
and
the
it's
beginning of the
coming out
next one.
today. And I purposely put it out today because it was Doug's 60th birthday today, and I wanted it to be momentous. I like having release dates for my books that mean something. Like my first book, which was about my first marriage, was released on my ex's birthday. And I said, it's my rebirth day
Yes.
releasing this book. So, you know,
That's a
why not?
nice gift for Doug. Like, that's a gift right there. Hey,
I
I
think,
wrote a book.
and I dedicated the book to him.
You
So that
did,
was kind of my thing. Yeah. So, I mean, who gets that on their 60th birthday? We're
right?
going to go with it. We're going to go with it. And I am not a bad wife, for the record. I have taken him on tropical trips on his birthday. I have taken him to the Daytona 500, very, what was it, fourth or fifth row. I have taken him on trips out of the country. I have he has had some interesting experiences with me. But
Everybody
this
gets
birthday, I'm
experiences
at
with
a
you.
loss because it's like, what else do you get a man when he has everything?
Feisty Puerto Rican.
Yeah, that's gonna be the gift today.
Mm.
So what else is going on today?
So I have a couple of announcements that I have not put out anywhere, but we're gonna do it here.
Yay.
First of all, our podcastathon will be released on March 15th, and all proceeds go to Give Kids the World. We are working with Give Kids the World because we are arranging a time for myself and Faith and Michael to go down there and do some live videoing and also do some recording with the families and make some memories for them where they can take an episode home and always have that to remember. Because a lot of these families have either chronic or terminal children. And that's the point of going to Give Kids the World. You either have to be chronic or terminal to be with them. And it's a Make a Wish, which A Contagious Smile is partnered with, is Make a Wish. And so we're going to do that, and that launches. And then I got the coolest, and this has not been told anywhere. So big, breaking news. Um, we have been asked to participate as not only an alumni for the regional Make-A-Wish, which is going to be huge. We're talking like ridiculous. But also we are going to be on the forefront with like all of the celebrities and
Oh
all
my
of the
goodness.
yeah, we're not only an alumni family, but we're going to be out there doing giveaways and bringing light to this. So, in the Podcast Academy that I have created, I have also created a section just for either special needs families or survivors of domestic violence and narcissism. And we're going to have classes in there. We're going to have resources in there. We can actually do lives where you and I can come in and you can come in and talk. And we can put stuff up there like where your books are and how to get them. And also, which is like super, super cool, is we are creating, which I think this is adorable. I've never announced this to anyone, is going to be when we go out there, we are going to put all of the kids, whether they are the Make Wish recipients, alumni, or siblings of, we're going to have cards created like I did for you about the police, but we are
Yes.
going to make them VIP members of the Stucco Squad.
Oh, I love that.
And who doesn't love a dog, right? Who doesn't love a dog? And a service dog or just a dog in general is the one best friend who wants nothing but unconditional love from you, right? They are
Yeah.
going to be there with you through the ups and downs. They go with you to every medical doctor's appointment. They get to go with you to x-ray and MRI and CAT scan. They go everywhere except the OR. They can go and stay with you when you're in the hospital. They stay with you. And so we are making the um, whole thing like I've already created a book years ago about stucco. It was about 2 years ago, and it's a stucco activity book. And we're going to give those out to the kids, and then we're going to give them the promo card that tells them that they're now VIP of the Stucco Squad. And they are going to get to join up and take classes from Stucco, and they're going to get activity sheets from
Oh,
Stucco. And it's going to be where they can get birthday cards and
I
holiday
love
cards from
that.
Stucco. and it's going to be amazing. And then we are offering for the Make-A-Wish Ball, which is just insane. Was it 5 or 6 years ago, we were asked to attend, and it's ridiculous. To get a parking space for the ball is 25 grand, like something ridiculous,
Oh my
right?
gosh.
Heavy, heavy hitters. And we're going to offer to have um, Faith come on stage for the ball, which she's already like, I have to wear an evening gown. Like, I have to, what? I better be able, I better design it. And I'm thinking, oh my God, I got to get dressed up. And wait, my husband has to get dressed up, who on our first wedding, I had to get into a, like, you have to wear shoes. Like, he
Yeah,
wanted to get married in blue jeans, and I was like, you're wearing boots. Like, you're going to put boots on your feet. And so we're going to offer for a raffling to be on with Faith, who is
that's cool.
a Wish alumni and a successful podcaster. And we're going
Yeah.
to put that out there, and the highest bidder gets to do that. And we're going to offer that. So I actually have a meeting with the Make-A-Wish team on Friday, and they were so funny because they were like, "Oh, can you meet with us Thursday?" And I'm like, "I can't. I have surgery." And they're like, "Oh," and I was like, "No, it's fine. I can meet with you Friday." And they're like, "How?" And I'm like, "No, no, no, it's fine. I'll meet with you."
Oh, because it's you, because you're the only person in this entire universe that's just like, yeah, it's just another day. It's just the day after surgery.
No big deal. So yeah, so we're meeting on Friday, and we are going to be discussing all of these amazing things. And then last night, my husband went to bed at 8 p.m. Go figure. And he woke up at midnight, and he was like, "What have you been doing?" I'm like, "Oh, I've created the platform for Powerhouse, and I've created the platform for Stucco Squad, and I've already had Faith help me. We've written another book about, being a kid that doesn't, you don't want to be ordinary when you're
Right.
extraordinary, and it's amazing. And I just got to finish a few little things, and then we're gonna get the book out there." And he's like, "You guys wrote a book, and you've done all that in 4 hours?" And I was like, "Yeah, like what? What?" So this is what we've been doing, and it's gonna get every time we talk about Podcastathon or Make a Wish, they're going to promote it on all of their sites. So that's so super exciting. So this episode, we're going to keep it a little cleaner today because it's going to be published on Make a Wish. It's going to be published on Give Kids the World. It's going to be published on all these other sites. And so here I am saying to the parents, the moms especially, please, for the love, I have read, and I'm a special needs mom, I'm a special needs person myself. I have read every one of Dana's books. And I would say this and have said this when I've interviewed other people or been interviewed myself without Dana anywhere around, and she didn't know that her books are a must read. They really, really are. And so go get them. I'm thrilled that her third one has come out today. I'm privileged to say that I've read it ahead of time. I'm very comfortable in saying it's very informative and it's amazing. It really does reflect and help you really open your eyes to a lot of things you might not have had clarity on before. And so we're going to bring Dana into the world of Make a Wish and Give Kids the World apparently today.
I love that. And it's funny because I always loved the Make-A-Wish Foundation. I even remember like in grade school and high school, every once in a while there's some project in some class and we're going to have a fundraiser. And I always picked Make-A-Wish because I just always felt like even though I wasn't in the happiest of homes, which is an understatement, I always thought, there's always somebody that's worse off than me. At least I have my legs and my arms and and I hate using the word normal, but forgive me without I'm not trying to offend, but I'm able to function as a person is able to function, fully. And that's not to say that anybody else couldn't, but without any modifications. And I just always kind of kept that in the back of my head, like how lucky am I? Like, yeah, I go through stuff. Who the hell hasn't gone through stuff? We've all
Right,
been through stuff.
right.
But for those people who may not have a tomorrow, those kids that were my age but were suffering some horrible, terrible illness, I just wanted to be able I just love the idea of being able to give back to them and say, here is something. Here's the highlight of your life. Here's something nobody else will have to treasure this memory except for you. And how amazing that is that people are continuing to do that to this day. So I love that. I love being a part of it. And I thank you for bringing me on and for the nice words about my books, because
Oh,
you have
just
written
good.
many, many a book too, my dear. And they are, well, Narc Narc, the one right behind you there, Narc Narc, who's there, that one is fantastic. And you want to talk about a book that really opens your eyes, because what's different between our books, I tell the stories, you're telling a story, but you're providing the actual, I mean, you have the actual emails, text messages, screenshots, pictures, and it's almost like you feel like you're a private investigator, like on a stakeout, like you're turning the page, like, what's this guy gonna do next? Like, and you're predicting and waiting, and you're searching the pictures for the clues. And it's interesting to go through a book in that way instead of being told what the story is, which is, my way of doing it. But gosh, it's an adventure. It's right. And there are parts of it that you're just like, I can't believe this, but I so can believe it because this is a typical narcissist,
Right,
but
right.
it's amazing the things they do that are all so very much the same, yet we look at it like, really?
Yeah.
Really? You did that? Oh, it's just shocking.
But what's more amazing about it, and not a pleasant amazing, is the fact that like when we were on our Make-A-Wish trip, my sperm donor called and asked us to cancel or come home early from the trip because he needed help because his wife and son were on a cruise and he was fending for himself and he can't boil water. He couldn't make toast. So he was like, I need you to come back early because I can't do anything. I was like, why don't you get the ship to turn around? Because I am not giving up my child's once in a lifetime opportunity
Right.
for Make-A-Wish. Are you kidding? Do you know how many people apply? And we didn't apply. A doctor did behind our back, not telling us anything. And then we got notification that we were granted. And I was
But
like,
that is so typical of a narcissist
right.
that they want to kind of minimize these humongous things. Like, I
Yes.
mean, to be selected for Make-A-Wish, I mean, I've never obviously, but it is a huge, from what I hear, it is a huge, not just an honor, but a huge undertaking,
It's a big
to even go
process.
through the process. Exactly. So his attempt to minimize it and ruin it, I mean, it's a typical thing. Narcissists love to ruin your birthday and
Anything
Christmas,
happy.
any special day, any special event. The spotlight cannot be on you, and God
Right.
forbid his granddaughter. It's got to be about him because he can't pick up the phone and order a pizza or takeout or whatever. But
He could have got
that's
one of his
not.
girls, right? I mean,
Yeah,
yeah.
well, it's, I've seen these narcissists. I know a few of them in real life, just a few. And, there was one that I remember years ago that decided to start having relations with the 18-year-old live-in babysitter that was like 5 years older than his kid. And I just remember looking at him and being like, do you really think she's going to wipe your butt when you're 80 and she's, 30 or whatever, 40, running around being cute and whatever? But hey, she's still driving around in her Mercedes from what I see on social media and living this good life that he's able to provide her. She's probably hoping he kicks the bucket sooner than later. But
Right.
I don't know what these men think that,
They
that
don't,
these
at
women
least
are
not
supposed to
here.
serve them. And when nobody's around to provide, service to them, they call somebody else thinking that you're going to come running. But what an idiot.
But the thing is like every year, Faith has done fundraisers since she was 4, and we've even filled Make-A-Wish closet because a lot of people don't understand that it takes so many months to get a wish granted because they have to go through and get, authorization from the doctors. They need to make sure that they are okay enough to do these wishes, and some of them aren't. And then, for instance, if the child, God forbid, doesn't make it to their wish,
Yeah.
then Make-A-Wish also like has this closet metaphorically, and they give stuff out of the closet to the families and the siblings and the Make-A-Wish child. And that's just it, is the fact that like we did a lot of fundraising and we would fill their closet as well. And when we went to give kids the world, it was so amazing because I was at a loss. And it was because, like as a police officer, you're on high alert at all times when you're going into a domestic because it's the most dangerous call to go on. When you have a child that codes or aspirates at the drop of anything and doesn't do the universal I'm choking sign, or she's not hooked up to a pulse ox, or she's not on an apnea, and all of a sudden she stops breathing, you're always on high alert. And so when you get ready to go down to give kids the world, they're like, tell us everything you need, medically. What kind of formula, what kind of G tube, what's the backup G tube, what kind of, medical equipment, what kind of medical supplies. And I'm like, what? And they're like, we got it. Well, I'm always prepared. And so I had an emergency bag and everything else. When we got there to give kids the world, Dana, first of all, it's like Fort Knox, which I love because what you don't realize is there's one of the highest divorce rates are amongst special needs families
I can
because,
imagine.
and I hate to say it, and I'm not, putting into one category, but most of the time, and it's factually based, it is the man who leaves. He doesn't want to deal with the responsibility. And so then the kids, like they have protocols, and I had to use the protocols when Faith was in the hospital where they have like all these different ways to protect the family in case the other party, aka dad or sperm donor,
Mhm.
tries to show up. And so when you get to give kids the world, you come into this beautiful gate and there's somebody there and you have to, get registered. And then once they know who you are, every time you come by, it's welcome home. And it's the sweetest thing ever. And you drive up and you come into one of the cottages that's yours. And when you walk in, everything you need medically is there and it's set up
Wow.
and they've had it shipped in for you. And then like you don't make your bed. You don't go when you go to the most amazing place to eat. They have volunteers that come and take the tray for you. And they're like, "You don't lift anything while you're here. We take care of you." And I'm like, "But it's her wish." And they're like, "But you need to be taken care of too." And you're just like,
Yeah.
"What?" And it's amazing. And they take care of the family. Like they're like, "Hey, do you want, a tattoo while you're here?" And they do like the temporary tattoos of Mayor
Hmm.
Clayton, who is a rabbit, and it's their mayor, it's their mascot, or his wife, or and they have a little beauty shop for the kids, and
Oh,
they get their nails done and they can, get all pretty and pampered and then they have like the most amazing, it's 89 acres and it's absolutely flawless and it's amazing and you go there and it literally will change your life. People don't understand it will change your life. So we're going to go down when it gets cooler and I'm going to literally walk and show you like if you've never had to walk these paths then you don't understand. And I hope that people never have to. But you never know. I never thought I'd be the battered wife. I never thought I'd be well into over 100 surgeries, but you don't know. And to know that this could be you, God forbid, and you see the joy, and there's not one kid walking around with a frown on their face, nothing else matters outside of those gates. Like everybody is so happy. The kids are happy. The parents are happy. They're making memories that they will never, ever, ever get to make again. And it is so critically important for families to have that time where it's not medical. And so many of the siblings have animosity towards that kid because they feel like everything is focused on that child, right? And so they don't get that time and love and understanding that the other child does because that child has all this medical requirement and the other kids get hostile. And but this place treats everybody equally and they make memories and they bring the families closer together. And I can't speak enough about like this is my favorite place in the world to go. If anywhere I've ever been, this is it. And I never thought that San Francisco would get beaten, but it did. And this is just amazing. And I love it. And to even be allowed, because it's not an offer, I'm being allowed to be a part of this is life changing. And I'm beyond honored to be able to be a part of it.
that's so amazing. I'm so happy for you guys, and I'm happy that, I mean, I know you and love you as everyone who's listening knows you sort of kind of too, but I think that they got really lucky having you on their side and
Oh,
having you be a part of this. And I I think that a foundation like that, an organization like that, that really just pulls together all the right people for the right reasons. I mean, you can't go wrong. There is nothing that anybody can take issue with when it comes down to, a child and a family that just need some good memories, some positivity, something to look forward to, something to remember, to hold on to that. So I love that. I love everything that you just said, and I just can't wait to see and hear and all the things that you share with us. So
Well,
this
I'm
is
bringing you
super
with
cool.
me, but one of her wish was Harry Potter, and I was so behind because I hadn't seen or really focused on the movie.
Yeah.
And when we got there, they were like, okay, do not get a wand, do not get this, do not get that. And they're like telling us, I'm like, okay. And they have a building at Universal that
Yeah.
is only for Make-A-Wish kids. You cannot get into this building unless you're a Make-A-Wish kid. And we get in there and we're supposed to be there at a certain time. And we get like, first of all, you get to go in front of everybody. You have your own entrance into every single ride at Disney and Universal and Epcot. Like, and people are stunned. They're like, why do they get to cut in line? And the attendees are like, you don't want to go through what they've been through to be able
Right.
to have that ability. And so we did all the rides and the elevators and all that stuff at Harry Potter. And all of a sudden, like we're doing all these things, and then they take us to this building and they're like, okay, stay right here for just a minute. And then we walk down, and as we walk down, you've seen Harry Potter, right?
Mhm.
Okay. So as we're walking down, there's all like we're in a library and
Mm.
and we're going through, and every aisle where there's books is a member of the Harry Potter school or whatever, and they're bowing to Faith as we walk down the corridor. And we walk down and we walk down and we walk down, and like it gets so dark and we're like, what are we doing? And they're like, get the camera ready. Well, they also I had a photographer with us, and they're like, just get it. And so
Yeah.
I have none idea of what's going on. And she's so cute. And all of a sudden the light comes on, and the wand maker from every single movie of Harry Potter was in front of us. And she's like, and he says, it's time for you to, the wand picks you. You don't pick the wand. And so I'm like looking over and what? And I have no clue. And so they try to give her a couple of wands, and they teach her a couple, he teaches her some potion or whatever.
Yeah.
And like all of a sudden she makes everything fall off the wall. And then, he's like, oh, aha, I got it. And it was like the third or fourth wand. And all of a sudden, like the lights come on and wind, and all of her hair is like whoosh. And, it's just amazing. And then he's teaching her these words to say, and everything she is being taught is happening. And then he spends like half a day with us. And he's like, okay, when you see this and this and this, do it. So when we're walking around, we had to like sign all this. I signed all this stuff. We got Harry Potter's wand from the second movie, and then, or one of the wands he used. And then we got the cloak of Hermione for her to wear
Wow.
while we're walking around, and a map. And so we walk out, and she uses this little phrase, and then a frog starts spitting water out of his mouth. And we go to these places, and then we have a guide with us, and he's telling her to, no, right here, do it. And then like all of a sudden this one person disappears, and she's like, ha ha ha, like she's all, and this goes through the whole day. And then we had Shaggy and Scooby escort us around, and
Oh, cool.
that was so incredibly cool. And then Betty Boop comes up to us, and she's looking at me like, who is this? Like, she has no idea who Betty Boop is. And then one of the mummies, like, who's like 8 feet tall, looks down at her. That scared the bejeebies out of her. And she tried everything to wand him away, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this went on and on. And then another part of her wish, I don't know if you ever saw Dolphin Tale, but
I did. That's an old one, but
right.
yeah.
I took her to see that in the movie, and she looks at me and goes, I get it. Winter has no tail. I have no tongue. And I'm sitting there bawling in the movie,
Oh.
and she's like, Winter can swim and I can speak. And I was just, so we went to swim with Winter as well on our trip. And Winter gave Faith her favorite stuffed animal. And like, I have pictures of them playing together and having so much fun. And Winter has passed away since, but
Oh.
just amazing. Oh, amazing. So she was in love with this whole concept. So I got a tattoo of Winter on my arm. And because I have so many scars, I didn't want to see them. And so I've tattooed our journey to kind of cover up a lot of the scars. So part of our Make a Wish trip came from there. But to see these, and we were just walking with a whole bunch of other Make a Wish kids, and everybody was so happy. And I know this is not the premise of the show, and I apologize for that. But the thing is that everyone who listens to us has been through heroic, horrific things, and they are heroes now because they've come out on the other side. We were torn to pieces and we came out on top. And that's what the same is for these kids. And that's why I say I'm sorry because normally we're so on topic, but in a way we still are because these kids had their own fight and they're still fighting, but they're happy and they have a smile and there's so much we can learn from them. And it's a really big
100%.
deal. And it's such
I
an
think it's a huge deal. I think that that's actually perfect how you said that because I think people forget before you start your healing journey, whether it's a physical healing or a mental journey of healing, you honestly cannot even conceive of having anything good happen to you
right,
ever again.
right.
You lose hope. I'm laughing because I laugh when I'm nervous because I remember feeling like this is it. I'm just gonna die one day and that was it. Like what a waste of a life. And hopefully one day everybody wakes up or somebody else opens your eyes to what life can be if you look to see that side of it. And for these kids, they're experiencing things they could have never even imagined in their wildest dreams, or it's their wildest dreams coming true, which is the premise of the foundation. But I think we forget that we too have that power, even if you've never been through anything horrific. But if you have and you've lost that hope and you've lost sight of who you are and what you want in life, you just have to think it up. Think it up. And I think that we think that we're asking too much or we feel selfish that it would be selfish for me to make a decision that's good for me or that has anything to do with anything that I want in life. God forbid I follow my heart, follow my dreams, do something I want to do, especially when some of us have been in situations, especially when there is domestic violence involved. I mean, you're afraid to even look at somebody the wrong way. You're afraid to wear something, whether it be lipstick, a certain shirt, a dress. You're afraid what you're going to cook for dinner.
Right.
And it's so scary that the idea that I can have a dream, I can do something that I would like to do, I can have something that I've always wanted actually come to fruition. We lose that. And I think part of finding ourselves again is I say like indulging yourself.
Right.
I remember for me, it was the simplest thing. I didn't have make a wish for narcissistic abuse, but I remember the first night my ex was not living under the same roof as me. I was like, oh my gosh, for how many years dinner had to be a meat and two sides, but I couldn't have the same meat two consecutive nights. And the sides couldn't be like two carbs or two starches or whatever. And there had to be two. There had to be two. God forbid I made like one side. It was so stringent. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know what to make for dinner. And then I was like,
Veggie plate.
oh, but I can have what I want for dinner. And you know what I had? I had a pint of butter pecan ice cream because I said, F it. That's what I want. That's what I want. And it's such a simple thing. And
It's
somebody's
so
going to say,
simple.
oh, butter pecan ice cream for dinner is nothing compared to a child who's terminally ill at Make a Wish. But at the same thing, isn't that kind of like your own little Make a Wish? The little indulgences that we don't allow ourselves, the things we don't give ourselves permission to experience because oh, we don't want to upset anyone. We don't want to upset the peace. We don't want to,
Right.
go across any boundaries that have been set for us as if we're a dog in a yard with an invisible fence. Because if you cross that line, you're going to get shocked. There's consequences. So I think it's completely appropriate and completely related if people are open to looking at that way. And I would even challenge them. It's funny, I actually put something out on Instagram today about the same subject, just saying, do you dare to do something for you? Do you dare to make that decision for yourself that will possibly open up everything you've ever wanted in your life? Because that's the key, and we all have it in ourselves. Kids don't. So kids need a little help, like foundations like Make a Wish and from people like you, that
Right.
are helping and facilitating these things to happen. But we as people in, everyday life, we have the power too. we have the power to give ourselves our own wishes and make our own dreams come true. And there is nothing that's that, you want to be an actor in a movie, go start being an actor, go start auditioning. There's ways you can do that. Be a behind the scenes person, be in the crowd of 100 that they pick. Go do something. Take those baby steps, because once you know what you want, it's hard to unsee it and it's hard to let go of it.
And that's just it. I mean, you absolutely said it because you go in there and first of all, for me, I never ever took faith out of the like 1 mile radius of the hospital, yet alone on an airplane to a different state, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I mean, I was asking a million questions. How close is the closest hospital? We have a helicopter if we need to. And I'm like, okay, what if, and I'm like asking every single question. And I was physically trained in like everything under the sun before, way before any of this. And when we get there, it was like, wow. And then you just go back and think about how many people you've heard complain, I couldn't get my kid to cheerleading and soccer, and I have no time for me. And you're just like, really? Take a day, take 1 day and live in this life. Like, these kids don't complain. They don't take
Right.
anything for granted, right? They came up to Faith and asked her to be the MC of the parade. And here she is. They send a horse-drawn carriage to pick her up.
Oh my gosh.
And it's a pajama party. So we're in our pajamas and we get in the horse-drawn carriage and we stop at a certain location and they say, okay, mom, because at this point it was just her and I on the Make-A-Wish trip. And they said, okay, mom, we'll see you at the starting line. I'm like, wait, what? What? No, no. Are you kidding? No. Who's going to be with her? Are you kidding me? Like, I'm like, no. And they're like, we got her. It's fine. She's going to be fine. And I'm like, I'm not going to be fine, And I was like, no, no, no. And I was like, can I see her? Will I be able to see her? No, she'll be around in about 10 minutes. And I'm like, because, I'm thinking all that can transpire in a 10-minute period of time with Faith.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so next thing I know, about 10 minutes, 12 seconds later, because I'm like, that's the longest 10 minutes of my life because I've never been away from her at
Yeah.
all, ever. She's in the hospital. I stay with her. I go home. She goes home. And all of a sudden, I see this beautiful firecracker walking down, leading the parade, holding Santa Claus's hand. And I'm videoing it. And she's waving at everybody, and there's the gingerbread man behind her, and there's elves behind her, and there's all these magical characters behind her, and she thinks she's the cat's meow, and she is. And she is just walking around happy and just scooting her little tushy, and that she gets on stage, and Santa is on there, and he's like, "Okay, I'm gonna have you do something. Now we are in Florida." And he goes, "Okay, I want you to count to three, and I want you to say, 'Make it snow.'" And she's like, okay. And back then she had really bad apraxia and people had such a hard time distinguishing what she was saying. And so she goes, one, I have it on video, I'm going to send it to you. Two, and she's looking all around with her eyes, looking around everywhere. And she's looking up like, I don't see anything. And then she goes, three. And then all you see is snow everywhere,
That's
coming out
cool.
of everywhere. And she goes, make it snow. And like snow is everywhere. Everybody's dancing. She's dancing. And she's dancing with Santa. And I'm in the front line. And you don't remember a doggone thing about anything medical at that point. You're not thinking about that feeding tube or seizures. You're not thinking about anything. You're watching that gorgeous child just laugh, belly laugh, being so happy and full of life and love and happiness. And I look to my left and I look to my right, and there's kids there in wheelchairs, there's kids there hooked up to IVs, and every single one of them has the biggest smile on their face. They are so happy. There are kids leaning back, like wanting to feel the snow on their face. They are dancing around. Here comes the gingerbread man dancing with the kids. Here comes Mayor Clayton dancing with the kids and his wife.
Mhm.
And everybody is just dancing around, having a good time. And no one is thinking about their next operation or their next chemo treatment or their next transplant or whatever it is. And it's so amazing to have the power to give that to a family. And that's what They do, and it's so amazing. And then like if they can't sleep, you can go to the carousel and nobody's on it, and it's 10 o'clock at night, and you know what? They're gonna let you get on it and they're gonna run it for you. And that is what is so amazing. They have wheelchairs at the pool that are water resistant, so you can safely get in. I don't know how they do it, and they can get submerged into the water, not over their head or anything, and then they have putt putt where you go in there and like the little ball pops out. So you don't have to worry about how you can't play. This is all made so that everybody can experience it. And they have some of the rides that Disney and Universal have, and you can get on them in a wheelchair. You know, you can go, and every night is a different party. They have a different themed party every single night. And then all of a sudden you see characters walking around like from Disney and Universal that maybe the kids couldn't get to because they weren't feeling so good that day. But you don't know that because these kids have this huge smile on their face. And it is the most amazing experience you could ever have in your life. And I just cannot say it enough because, you know, nothing else matters at the end of the day. You know, jobs come and go. People who really don't authentically mean to be in your life for whatever reason, they come and go. But your heart, when you're a true, authentic parent and you're truly loving your child, then that is your life. That is your child. And when you see that child look up into the sky and their face has literally little snow flurries coming down on them, and they're laughing so hard that they're holding their belly because they can't stop laughing, and they're dancing around in circles, it is the most warming, heart filling moment of your life because normally you're like, I don't want him to get another stick. I don't want another IV. You know, how much more can they take? They're little kids. It's not fair. But they don't think about any of that. You know, Faith said something to me that blew my mind. She said, "You had a life before me, and now you have a totally different life because of me. And that's not fair for you." And I was like, "Are you crazy? You gave me my life. You made me who I am. You make me want to be a better person because you're so amazing. Your heart is so big that I want to be you because of how amazing you are." I mean, she'll come out of surgery and we'll come out of day surgery and she'll see kids and they're all scared and sad and she'll be like, "Can I talk to them for a minute?" And she's like, "I just had surgery. You're going to be fine." And she'll cheer them up.
Yeah.
And that's just her heart. And that's where these kids are. And it makes you really think about the pettiness of people who are, I mean, even grown adults who are so methodical about it's all got to be about me, you know, that you will go to that point where you take away from that child, where that child has not asked to be sick. That child has not asked to be ignored by you. I mean, like when Faith was, you know, a year ago and on life support and everything was against her, none of the grandparents on either side, you know, well, his dad did, but other than his dad, didn't reach out. And they knew what was going on. And how you do that as a human being and put your head on a pillow is beyond my recognition. I cannot fathom or figure out how you can do that to an individual that has done nothing. And the only thing they're guilty of is innocence. That's what they're guilty of is innocence.
But
Everything
you
else
know
is
what? Is it really innocence or is it that life just makes us all jaded? Because what strikes me of everything that you're saying is basically these children are being put in situations where everything that they have maybe been made to believe or been told is not possible is now possible. And when, at what point do we stop, you know, because we're told, oh, that's not real. Stop thinking about that. It'll never happen. All these disparaging things that we're told from the time we're little and all through our life. And mainly because people don't want to believe. People limit themselves, but when they limit themselves, they don't want you to have anything that they don't have either. So they start limiting you. And then you start internalizing this stuff. Like you're trying to, you know, I am imagining take Make a Wish out of it. If I'm in Florida and somebody says, "Oh, make it snow, Santa," I can already hear a gazillion people that I know, "Oh, snow in Florida," and making these snide remarks. You know, I have family in Florida for a very long time. And you know what? Every once in a darn while, it does actually snow. Not certainly like it did on command for the kids, but that's the whole thing, is these self-limiting beliefs. And I think that that's, at least I'll speak for myself, but I think it happens for a lot of people, particularly in adult romantic toxic relationships, where we develop these self-limiting beliefs about what we deserve or what we have, or the possibility that things can be different, or that maybe, I'm not worthy of having somebody that loves me the way a person should be loved, whatever it is. And so, I mean, I'm literally getting chills when you're telling these stories about you and your daughter, your family being down there and experiencing these things, because I love the idea that things are possible. I love the idea that these kids are forgetting everything that they've been told is working against them, because it doesn't matter,
Yeah, they're not
because
a
it
diagnosis.
doesn't
Kids are
mean
not a
anything
diagnosis.
unless they make it mean anything. Exactly. Do you know how many people and I'm sure everybody knows that friend or that relative that was told they can't have children and now they have three healthy, beautiful children? The
Mhm.
person